Hello, I'm Terry and you are watching the templating engine tutorial. Now what this will do is basically allow us to create custom syntax. So instead of having to type something like this in our templates, we could just do something like this. Now obviously this would come in handy if you were working on an open source platform and the users wanted to create their own templates or styles. If they had no knowledge in PHP, this would look a lot clearer and more self-explanatory than this. So we're going to just dive straight into this. We're going to be using OOP. Now I've got my three files here. I've got index, I've got my template.html, and I've got template.php, which will store our class, or hold our class would be a better term. Now I'm going to open up my PHP tags and say class template, and we're going to have a private property in here called vars, and this will be an array. Now this will store all of our variables that we have assigned in here. So we're also going to create a public method called assign, which will have key and value as its arguments, and this will only be one line. We're going to say this vars key equals value. So what we need to do now in our index file is actually include our class. So we're going to say include template.php, and we're going to instantiate it like so. And well, to demonstrate how this is going to work, we'll say template assign username, and I'll just use Terry for now, but this could be something like session username. It could be anything. It could be user input, but for now I'll just use a string, my actual name, and we're just going to print our template. And once we refresh here, we should see this that we just assigned. There you have it. We have our element, or our variable. So we're just going to remove this. What we need to do now is actually create the render method, which will search all our variables and replace them with values. So we're going to say public function render, and in here we will pass our template name. We're going to cheat a little here. We're going to say path equals template name .html. Now this will make things a lot easier, because instead of, well, normally we would do something like this, and we would say my template.html, but this way we could actually change the file extension to something like TPL or PHP without actually having to go through every single file and changing our parameter. So we'll keep it like this. And now what we need to do is get the contents of our file, but before we do that we need to check if it exists. So we're going to say if file exists, path, and we'll get our file contents. So contents equals file get contents path, and else if the file doesn't exist, we're just going to echo out or exit. Let's say h1 template error. So what we need to do now is actually output our contents. So we could use echo, but eventually I want to add if statements to our engine, or our templating engine. So we're going to use eval, which will basically allow us to use PHP. Echo, we can only use text or HTML, but with eval we can use PHP as well. Now this function is a little bit complicated. We need to first add our PHP tags backwards with the space between them both, like so. And then we're going to concatenate on our contents. Don't worry if you don't understand this. It's very complicated, so it works. That's all you need to know. So if we just add something to our template here and refresh in our browser, we should see hello Terry. Now what I'm going to do is change this to username and refresh, and as you can see, we don't actually, our code hasn't replaced it with our value yet because we haven't actually added our regex. So what we're going to do, search our array here for whatever's here. So we're going to say for each this vars as key value. You should know what this means by now. If you don't, it's basically saying for each element in this array, then do anything inside these brackets. What we're going to do is we're going to use the preg replace function. So we're going to say contents equals preg replace. In here will be what we're searching for. Here will be what we are replacing it with. And here is what we are actually searching. And so this is contents, our file contents. And we are going to search our keys. So we're going to add our delimiters, and we're going to add our square brackets. And because we're using regex, we need to escape these out with backwards brackets. And now what we need to do is add our key. So we're going to concatenate on. So we're using this, and we're replacing it with value. What we're saying here, once we have assigned our variable here, we're going to search the key, so this, which is username in our case, and replace it with value, which is in our case Terry. So let's try this out. There we go. As you can see, it works. So let's try something else. We're going to say template assign age, and we'll say 18. So we'll say username is age years old. So if we just refresh, there we have it. Terry is 18 years old, and we will say and his favorite food is favorite food, and we need to assign that here. Template assign fav food, and my favorite food is pizza. So Terry is 18 years old and his favorite food is pizza. So this works perfectly. I can't see anything wrong with it. So thanks for watching.